All right, welcome back to Presspress. The hashtag is Presspress at Ken Mijungu, at William Janak, at Ohito AOL, at Sadiq Shaban with a double D, at Maina OH, at Miss Shiko, and at who did I leave behind? Everyone is here, right? Yeah. All right, everyone is here. So engage us in this conversation. Join us online. Tell us what you think. We're receiving a lot of responses on this, but I guess you have the right to respond on this, Shiko. By grouping, I see a lot of tweets. For example, Child of God, someone, or this Ken says that Ken Mijungu, it really doesn't matter who Raila Odinga goes to see. He's a leader for all, you know. But I want Shiko to respond on this before we move.
I will respond to it because it was one thing that really upset me when at the time it happened. And Raila was not going there to see an individual, as these people on Twitter are trying to pretend. What he did was actually say that everybody who was being held there was being held as a political prisoner. Am I wrong? I'm sure you guys have the clips for that.
We have them.
Yes, and you can show that. And he was therefore defending everybody who was held, including, then said, Moses Kuria. And I'm not saying that anybody else who was there had not said anything that was questionable, because I feel like everybody who was there for a reason, and a good reason. And I didn't feel like anybody, whether it was Uhuru or Raila, should have been there trying to defend any of these people. And the fact that he went there and he was trying to get these people out really upset me.
What did you want them to do? You didn't want them to be together? You didn't want to see them together?
No, what I wanted was for every man to carry his own cross.
Okay.
And what I felt is, if you've gone to say something and it wasn't something that you actually said and you can defend yourself in a court of law, go ahead and do it. When a guy like Raila goes and says it's okay, and he sanitizes all that, what are we trying to do then and say as a country?
I don't think it may be right. Raila went there with lawyers. Maybe he didn't, Moses Kuria didn't have good Jubilee lawyers, so he decided to provide.
And he said, please also come on board. We are all good.
So I think
we all do hate speech.
I think the point here, the bottom line for me, is, and I remember this vividly. I think Raphael Tuju was on NTV Studios one time speaking with Larry Mado when that tweet by Moses Kuria, or rather, when that communication went up. And I think the missing link here many people are talking about is Moses Kuria, or anybody else for that matter, is an MP from President Uhuru's own backyard. Yeah. And perhaps the president should have said something. Okay. Immediately he heard that.
The president was not at the police station trying to get the guy out.
When yesterday in Kitengela, Johnston Mudama made those outrageous comments, which have clearly now landed him overnight, staying police, many would have expected, really, and I want to bring it back to our role as scribes and journalists. We should have asked, is this, we've been here before, why are we back here? Are the people who are supposed to speak loud enough on this issue? And are we amplifying while reporting what they have said? And I think that is where culpability comes in.
I have a question, and this goes to the Media Complaints Commission. You're a commissioner. Do you think we're not doing a good job at reporting the exact words? Someone told me, to quote him, if we were to play what Moses Kuria said without subtitles, verbatim, we'll have a lot of toot, and censoring. We'll not be able to. Without bringing that out, do you think we are really getting it to the people what they really need to know that this guy said?
I think that's where the challenge lies. That one, we don't have people who have capacity to be able to understand and denounce such statements when we are on air. We all report that he has said this. We are waiting for Kaparo to say something.
And we say allegedly said. We don't even say it.
One of the challenges that exists in the media houses is inability to denounce those comments ab initio. When you start running that story, you need to say Nation Media does not support such statements and go ahead to quote him verbatim. So that is a missing thing in our media houses.
If that were to happen, I mean, just like Orengo did the other day, they will single you out and say, don't watch this
exactly, and we'll be
playing if they did that, because you've raised sufficient support from listeners, then you would get as many people rebuking Orengo or rebuking Moses Kuria as they did. But when you get into that comfortable position, thinking that you are serving their interests, remember what we said is partisanship. that you begin to be the one to tone down Moses Kuria's message because you want your media house or your readers to continue supporting you because he...
I don't think that is the reason, Henry.
Yeah.
I think the
What is
reason
the
why
reason?
is perhaps the things he says, some are unprintable. You can't print them. You can't say them.
That's why you need
can't
to
play
denounce them first.
But how do you play that on TV?
The question is, Ken, like today, I mean, why would the media be talking about the drama of arrest of Moses Kuria? The story should probably have been, I mean, for how long will we have this drama of attempting to arrest Moses Kuria or playing about with, I mean, the cosmetic thing about this? In fact, that should be the story. Why should we have drama after drama about arrest of Moses Kuria or Mudama? We should go to the next level and perhaps raise the issue of, because it's, I mean, Moses Kuria is being like the griots of West Africa, playing within the king's court. And as I think my colleague has just said, nobody is restraining him, you know. So whether from NASA or from Jubilee, the question within the media circles is the most important story the one of arrest of Moses Kuria, or the fact that he has said so many outrageous things and nobody is taking action?
Actually, action has been taken. It's just that he's not been jailed for
not
it.
sufficient action.
That the most outrageous story
Yeah.
from the point of view of the media actually is not even Moses Kuria. I think it's the fact that Urengo would say, or Raila would say, or NASA would say, don't buy NMG products. And the only person who reports it is NMG.
You're talking about the time there was a violence breakdown in Kibera?
There was a time
Yeah.
when they had a problem with how NASA was reporting.
How NMG was
How
reporting?
NMG was reporting NASA's
Yeah.
and Jubilee's interactions after the elections. And the only person who actually said what NASA said, which was boycott NMG products, was NMG. I actually sidebar.
Because we are open. We don't have to censor that. I don't think there's a reason.
You may be open, but you may be closed for business. Very
I
soon.
just
You
thought
may
it
be
was
close.
hilarious.
This is what. Allow me to say this.
But to be fair to NASA, again, Sadiq, before you speak, all right, speak, because I want to play the ban. They had lifted the ban against us.
Like,
Here's the deal.
put a
Here's
gun
the
on your head and shoot it.
What was
That
the
makes
effect of the ban?
That
Well, I
makes
mean,
The
sense.
effect of the ban.
Yeah, what
the
was the
effect of the ban.
ban?
It's a long discussion, but I think it didn't affect us substantially because our readers.
Oh,
and
substantially, so it affected you.
Yeah.
it didn't affect us substantially. It was from their perspective.
Okay, you're unfairly putting Ken on a tight spot.
No, I'm just saying, I just don't understand
It was inappropriate.
why you would air that.
This is not the first time. This is not
Nobody
the first
else aired it.
time. This is
Because
not
they
the
were not
first
I
there.
just want to understand.
Because they were not there.
It
All right,
ties
let's.
up-
It doesn't
Sadiq
even
his
make
point.
sense, just from a business perspective. Why would you do that?
I think business is just one part. It ties up to a bigger part. I remember in about 2005, 2006, just right outside the I&M building, Raila Odinga also singled out KTN one time and said this is a media house.
And did KTN show it?
Well, they were right there,
Yes.
and the microphone, his finger was pointing at the microphone. The effect was that it was actually very intimidating, and I would imagine also for nation media to be singled out among all other players at such a crucial time of campaign is not the best thing that anyone would want. Forget about being a media house. Also, as an individual journalist, my colleague there made a point about being influenced to skew coverage sometimes in a manner likely to suggest that you are biased. Sometimes some of these things are not your own making. When you, for instance, live in a society where you have politicians who have bodyguards, they have protection, and the only thing you have is a pen and paper, sometimes tackling some of these stories takes quite a lot of grains from you, so that it gets to a point where, and we know this even for journalists who are doing investigative stories and all that, it becomes such a risky affair. So I think the point is, how do you balance that in a manner that you don't first lose your license, broadcasting license, two, you don't fall afoul with the regulatory bodies, including Media Council of Kenya, and also importantly, how do you maintain your editorial sanity while handling such unpredictable fellows, the likes of Mudama and the rest?
All right.
I wanted to make a simple point. I wish we would not be discussing Moses Kuria, but we'd be discussing NASA strike, more critical issues for this country. I want to say that the media plays a very critical role in a democratic society. We inform people, we help them make right choices. We are in an election time now. We are going to the elections on 17th of the next month. And these are the issues. What should we be telling Kenyans rather than wasting a lot of our airtime discussing a lowly leader like Moses Kuria.
No. I think it's not good to qualify him as a lowly. Let's look at it this way. And Ken said, it's actually an indictment on us as journalists. And I think it is time we own up and say, how are we looking at ourselves when the TV stations are no longer broadcasting our own stories and readers have shut the papers? Okay, when the radios are playing music and not the stories of aired, what is it that we take home from what we have done?
Yeah.
Those are kind of questions that nobody is willing to talk about. And I think it's time we echo those kind of concerns amongst ourselves before we move over.
By carrying more of Moses Kurias and more hate speech in our content?
Well, I would imagine it's time if media have the guts to be able to determine what is it that is important about this country. Is it a person who perpetually falls afoul with things that threatens the fabric of this society, or as custodians of the common good? Do we give these people blackout? And what is the editorial?
We must play our role in checking the government. We must play our role in protecting the critical institutions for this country. I have not seen so much airtime dedicated to the attack on judiciary, for example.
Ohito, let me ask you a question.
These are the issues.
Ken, sorry, we are turning
No,
into...
it's okay.
Ohito, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
You recently went to politics.
Yes.
You're a politician. You wanted to stand as a politician.
Yes,
If you made some comments out there while campaigning which were deemed insensitive or abrasive to some quarters of the political divide,
I'm a well-groomed man, very polished, and very careful about what I say.
how would you have wanted us to
handle it, for example?
no.
Would you want us to
give you a
report
black
or
eye
ignore it?
or we call you a lowly politician like David Ohito?
I said at the outset, I'm that old school editor who has no time for that trash.
All right.
Say not on my paper,
Okay.
not on my digital
All right.
platform, not on my bullet.
Luckily for us as nation, that ban in quotes was lifted on Sunday, I think. Let's take a look.
What we are saying is that from tomorrow, we are telling people not to buy the Daily Nation or the Sunday Nation. We are also letting you not to watch MTV. Mpaka ukweli ueleweke. Hapo awali nilitangaza kwamba tuachane na mambo ya Nation, lakini sasa nimekubali Nation wanatangaza mambo sawa sawa. Wamebadilisha sasa, wanatangaza sawa sawa. Sasa mnaweza kusoma Nation na kutazama runinga ya Nation.
Shiko, you still have a problem with that. And as Shiko speaks to us, look.
Because if a tree falls in the forest and no one was there to see it, did it fall? My point is, why was this even highlighted by NMG? Why?
No.
Because nobody else cared about it except you guys.
It is important.
It was important.
yeah.
that we
From
tell.
my perspective, we need to understand. It's like Shiko is asking, why would you have a public editor? Why would you have a feedback column in your newspaper? You don't need to have it. Is that what Shiko is saying? As a professional,
because this is what this is.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And
that's what this is.
businesses
If
hide.
somebody comes and he says to a substantial number of voters, to the millions, don't buy this product, I'm not going to hear that crap.
Yeah, and when you say that he has
I'm not going to do it.
he has publicly come back and apologized, then you legitimately get more
Maybe
scores.
when
But
he
what we need-
apologizes, then I'll say, yeah.
We need
Yes.
to be able to underscore
Uh-huh.
that media houses, unlike any other businesses, are public goods. They are not butcheries.
Ken.
Yeah, and when
Just hold-
people are given licenses to do that, I appreciate what Sadiq says, that you value the license and it can be withdrawn. Why is it that the license can be withdrawn? It's because it's a public good. You're not in this just because you're selling clothes in some bazaar somewhere and you can choose to say, I'm no longer interested in the clothes and clothes
So
shop.
next time you go to Art Cafe and you have a burger that you don't like, and then you tell them that you don't like it, I'm sure they're going to put an ad of you saying that you don't like it.
They will run to you.
Janak is thinking.
I'm sure it will be on the entrance.
Let me just
They will
pick
run
up-
to you with
for
a
you to
present,
one day like
with a present never to say.
So then they say he's changed his mind.
Yes.
I'm just saying, from a business model, it didn't make sense.
Yeah. Ken, maybe next time you need to provide
It
burgers
didn't
here
make sense.
instead of
It
water.
was idiotic. I'm sorry.
Okay.
To your bosses, but
Point
that
taken.
didn't make sense.
Point taken.
Especially because nobody else ran it.
Point taken.
Ken,
Made a lot
here
of
is my,
sense.
They
here is
didn't
my
make sense. It
concern.
was idiotic.
Here's my concern. I have known this building to be, it's referred to as Twin Towers out in the streets. If a politician makes such a damning allegations and statement about you, telling people that now you can watch NTV, now you can buy Nation newspapers because they are printing and saying
You're
that I
giving them
think
that
this
power?
building should be shaking it should be shaking to its
Don't
foundation.
give them that power.
Because, no, hang on. Because it's an indictment to us.
All
We
right.
shouldn't get this kind of narrative from politicians.
I think, under all fairness, Ohito, let me explain this. When that happened, Andrew Chieng was live on air, and it went on our air. I think it was just prudent that we clarified. And when they lifted that ban that was never banned, actually, because it never affected
have no
us,
power to ban
we
it.
had to show them that, you know, and we are also live. So the point is taken. Janak, I see you really quiet. Before I give Ohito, we have to finish on this and go to the substantive part of our discussion.
Well, let me tell you, as far as I'm concerned, the media, you see, Orengo and any other person is a consumer of media products. If at some point they express unhappiness over how the media does something, I mean, that is a matter of concern. It needs to be out there. If he comes back and endorses that, it is a big deal. I can tell you, in 2008, and those who can remember will remember, the media, different media houses were under attack. For example, Nation and Nation journalists, some of them who are our members, could not operate in certain, you know, in their own communities because Nation was accused of certain, you know, falsely, sometimes through the social media. Now, Nation had to come out very strongly, and I remember we had even senior Nation people came to the western part of the country to try to mitigate that kind of effect. So in my opinion, therefore, Nation was right to let the country know that this is what a consumer, a politician of such stature is saying. And then now when he has endorsed that, it has impact. Business and in any other way. I mean, it is important.
Ohito.
I think we are running away from...
I disagree again.
All right.
Because if you do want an endorsement of sorts, what would have even been a better endorsement for you was all the clips that were going on social media where the president and the deputy president were watching the
election results.
And they were watching NTV.
Yes, we did that. We did that.
That to me is a perfect endorsement.
Exactly, Ohito.
My argument is very simple and very basic. That we are seeing an affront on media by both opposition, government, commercial entities, and freedom of media must remain cardinal. This is why I always say and defend the media that anybody who tries to interfere with that space must be dealt with. Orengo is a very renowned constitutional lawyer, one of his own caliber, that just won a marvelous case that has become a global study. He knows how to address issues with the media. He knows there's a complaints commission. But I think he was riding on this political power that we also have muscle and we can muzzle you using that muscle. I don't agree with him on that front. But we must remain forthright, committed to defending this space. As to whether Nation was giving free advertorial to Honorable Orengo, my argument is very simple, that the media houses in Kenya are standing on quicksand, and if the judiciary can be threatened, who are we not?
Not to be threatened.
But Ken, again, it's, unless we have goldfish memory, I want to remember very well, when one of these media houses reporters was arrested, I think it was either John Giracho, and NASA, in fact, sent Orengo, pro bono lawyer, to defend him in court. Now, it's the same person saying, do not watch or don't buy this product and all that. I think the question is then, we should interpret this as more reason why we should never be comfortable with this kind of status quo. That we should always seek to find our own space and our own wavelength, so that we shouldn't find ourselves in a situation whereby our products are endorsed by politicians, the very people that we're supposed to hold to account. If we need endorsement, then we're going to get it from viewers, we're going to get it through the bottom line, and the shareholders will be very happy to know that the endorsement they have received in terms of bonus was actually as a result of good work done, not by politicians saying, hello, you've done a good job, let's have a cup of tea in State House.
All right, time now for another short break. When we come back, I'd like to pick this from the social media. This is a question I asked about 11 o'clock. We asked you to have your say is the media politically partisan? And you have there were several responses that we received from that. I read one really fast from Ken Simon. He says, Kenyan media seems to be threatened during this political season. We expect them to be the people's watchdog, a role they have failed to play, especially during the election. Why can't the media houses send their staff to all the constituencies? One more, Home Chapel? Of course, yes. That's agreeing that we are politically partisan. What we need to debate are the reasons why. Please give us serious debate tonight. The question should be, why do you think the media is increasingly becoming partisan?